Okay, I wanted to have one more video before I do a startup of this and show you the whole setup here. I've got my two tanks here. This one is going to be where the antifreeze and water goes. And this one is the gasoline. I have to still buy premium fuel. And you can see the hoses. I have the top of this going into the top up here, and I have the bottom of it going into the radiator and out of the radiator on here, and it goes into the pump, bottom down here where the pump is. You can see right here. And I have a battery hooked up. I thought that I would show you how to set the timing more accurate even before we started up. As you can see here, I painted a little arrow right here, so I know that when this is up in the up position, and if we can zoom in here down to the little arrow, get all the way in there, you can see that there's a 10 that's on the upper and a 10 that's on the lower part of the arrow there, and I'm right on the 0. So I know that I am at the top dead center of piston 1 on the compression stroke. But what we want it to do is to make sure the spark happens coming from, let me back up here. We want to make sure the spark happens from here and comes to the first spark plug right down there, the very first piston, number 1. And the best position for that is actually 10 degrees before you get to the top dead center. So let me back this up a little bit and I'll show you. So I'm going to grab a hold of the crank back here, and I'm going to turn it backwards to where it's before the 0. And you can see there's the 10. That's where we want the spark to happen. And what I had to do to get it to be there was I had to keep turning this. I had to get the timing so that it actually snapped. You could hear the pop happen when I get right there. I ended up turning the whole distributor around a bit more. As you can see, this little wire was the concern I had right here. When this was turned a little bit this way, it put this wire over the top of this pulley belt, and I was really afraid that the wire would be rubbing on that pulley as it's moving. So by turning the whole entire, I still left the blue showing, and I pulled it out of the gear, and I turned it just a little bit more clockwise, and then put it back in, and that put the hole a little further over. I don't know if you can see the hole still. Yeah, right there. So when I wanted it to fire, I'm going to pull it forward here until I get to 10. Where's the thing? There we go. So this is where I wanted it to fire. So I'm going to go forward until I get to 10. Right there. 10 degrees before top dead center. And you can see now, as I look over here, let me get a flashlight. Let's see here, where's the kid? There. Just a little bit of the blue is showing on the right side of the hole. And that's where you want it. That's actually where it'll fire. So here I'm gonna prove it to you. I'm gonna back this up a little bit, turning it backwards. Okay, and then I'm gonna turn on the power. I've got almost everything here. I have the master power switch, and I'm gonna mount a button here to start with, but I'll just turn this on. There. So now I have the power on to the ignition, and what we're gonna do is I'm gonna be real quiet, and you're gonna try to listen for the spark pop. So let me zoom in just a little bit more. Okay, now I'm gonna turn it and you'll listen. There, it popped. It popped a little before the 10. I can live with that. And then here is top dead center. So it's probably about 12 maybe, 12 before. Turn off the power. So that way, I hope you heard that. You heard the little pop. That's when piston number 1 spark was firing. Okay, so we will be ready to test this out in a little bit. I'm waiting to get this push button switch. And that's it. And then I've got to go get some gas and we'll be ready to fire it up. I'm back again to play around a little bit with this motor. I have since removed the, this, I don't know, cheap radiator. I don't really even think it works. I was pumping water through it, but I don't think it was even working. I don't think the engine was getting any coolant. It doesn't actually flow around through this thing. I think it just goes through the bottom, and so that's really just a stupid thing. So I disconnected the hose, and as you can see here, I just took the bottom of it and I ran it into the pump, where the pump is. And then I got that at the top coming out right here, and it comes back into the can here. And I think we're gonna just see how that works without running cooling it. I have quite a bit in this tank. You can see that it's fairly full up to the top right there. I'm also wondering about this carburetor here. It's I don't know, pretty simple little carburetor. I have found one of my old model engine carburetors from a planes and stuff. I never used it. This was supposed to be a really good carburetor. It's from Perry carburetor, and of course it's quite old, but it's been in this box forever. I think I'll make a manifold and give it a try and set it up on this thing and just to see if it's any better than this one. Anyway, let's give it all a try here and see how it runs. Turn the power on here and let's fire it up. looks like we were running at about 2600 there. I'm not even sure if I could get it any lower on the RPM. Let's, this must be working. I can feel the coolant is a little bit warmer here in the can. I'm hoping that it's working through here. I can see it flowing in the bottom anyway. So let's see if I can't close this a little bit. Let's see if it'll work a little lower here. See, I think I have to turn it out to make it go a little bit. Okay, let's see how that works. Not bad. That's 2100. Okay, that's not bad. I think I'll play around with it, and this is definitely warm, so it is sucking in from here the warmth and putting back in a little cooler, but it is getting warm. I'll have to figure out, maybe find a different kind of a cooling radiator. All right, that's it.